Now, you might say, well, this is going to split up the top. Doesn't have to be that way. My rationale is, if the top is one material and I unwrap it as one material, I might have to reassemble it, but otherwise it should work out just fine. Now, finally, first we'll deselect that. So select, deselect all, or simply the A key. Sometimes forget those little details. We go down to the bottom, and the bottom I'm not going to split up into separate materials. The bottom is just going to be one piece. It's going to be material 1. So, oops, I did that wrong. It's going to say Shift right click and around the rim again. And I'll jump ahead in the video to finish this. There we go. So I will mark the seam, mesh, edges, mark seam. And there we are. The seams are all marked now. Obviously, as always, I'll save my work. And the next step will be to create those materials, which can be a little bit tricky. So I'll get started on that now. Now, one thing you might have noticed missing from the seams part of this, if we actually, rather than going with the perfect views here, if we look around, you'll notice that the side of the can goes to infinity. There's no edge marking it off so that it can be unwrapped into a flat form. So you would say, well, clearly that's incorrect, unless it's all going to be just one color and not properly UV mapped. The reason I've done it this way is partly that I didn't think of that, but also that it's just easier to do the materials for now if we keep it like this. I'll obviously remedy that in a subsequent video, because I'll have to do that before I can do the UV maps or the textures. So, getting to the point of all this, internally, you want to add the materials to the model file. Now, I, of course, will have to save this as 104 to be on the safe side in case I screw this up. As always, you want to work on a new copy each time you make any major change on a project. This is true for almost any kind of development. So this is the materials button. And you notice there are no materials. There's the default material, but actually the default material is not recognized by many exporters, including the Trains exporter. If you want a, for example, Trains model to actually work, you need to create a default material and assign it to the can. So I'll start with one material, new material, and you can double click it to rename it. Here we will say ends, because as I said before, material 1 will be the ends. So that's ready to go. Wonder why it's fighting me here. Let's see. There we go. I had to click on something unimportant. Add a new material. So I have a new material slot. Oh, I guess it doesn't count it as a new material. That's annoying. Okay. So maybe new material here? Yes. Good. Okay. So That's important to remember. This will only give you a material slot. I think I knew that and forgot. Okay, so then I will say side for material 2. Click somewhere else, and we have our side. Then I suppose the most efficient way, let's see. Yeah, the most efficient way, I guess, is to create a slot first. Okay. Maybe I was worrying about nothing. So create the slot and create the material. We will say, double click again. Why is it not working? Let's see. Double click to rename. Rim. So there we have the materials in the system, but they're not assigned to the model yet. We're going to have to do that. Actually, what I should do as a shortcut, I will select the entire model, and I will assign the side texture to all of it. Assign. I will deselect and make sure that worked. So deselect, select, deselect, do that. I will select by material, the side, and the whole thing is selected. So it worked. Now, I'll deselect this again. I will create the ends. So this will involve a more elaborate process. I will, as planned, select all the vertices here, right-click with Shift around the edge. I'll have to jump ahead in the video and finish in the next part.